That's how the Communist Party of China celebrated its birthday. 70,000 attendees at the Tiananmen Square, thousands of performers, and a gun salute with 100 cannons. China went all out to let the world know whose birthday it is. But this grand celebration was not about the Communist Party. It was about this man, Xi Jinping, the supreme leader of China, the chairman of all things, as he's called. The Chinese president stood out today. In an appearance that was carefully choreographed, Xi Jinping was flanked by previous and current leaders of the Communist Party. They were all dressed in dark suits, but Xi Jinping himself was wearing a grey high-collar cut suit, a design immortalized by Mao Zedong. He was the founder of modern-day China. His outsized portrait hung beneath Xi Jinping today. The comparison was striking. In his bid to showcase himself as the greatest leader of China since Mao, Xi Jinping dressed exactly like him. But the similarities are superficial. Xi is his own man. He spoke for more than 1 hour today. He painted the Communist Party as China's savior, as the force leading China's rise. The speech was filled with warnings and threats for China's adversaries. Today, Xi Jinping sounded like one of his own wolf warrior diplomats. He began on a defensive note, though. He said that China had oppressed no one and that Chinese people uphold justice. They've never bullied, oppressed, or enslaved people of other countries. Listen to this.
We Chinese are a people who uphold justice and are not intimidated by threats of force. As a nation, we have a strong sense of pride and confidence. We have never bullied, oppressed, or subjugated the people of any other country, and we never will.
Well, he won't find many takers for this argument outside China. For that matter, he won't find many within China either. Because Beijing's oppression is not limited to other countries. It begins at home. Look at the Uyghurs, the Tibetans, the Mongolians. Of course, Xi Jinping did not talk about any of them. He was busy issuing threats, you see. He said countries will, quote-unquote, crack their heads and spill blood if they come after China. This is the Chinese president speaking.
At the same time, the Chinese people will never allow foreign forces to bully, oppress, or enslave us. Whoever nurses delusions of doing that will crack their heads and spill blood on the Great Wall of Steel, built from the flesh and blood of 1.4 billion Chinese people.
The next warning was for the United States. The Chinese president said his country will never accept, and I'm quoting again, never accept arrogant lecturing from master teachers. He did not name America, but he made it quite clear that the US should mind its own business.
We are also eager to learn what lesson we can from the achievements of other cultures and welcome helpful suggestions and constructive criticism. We will not, however, accept sanctimonious preaching from those who feel they have the right to lecture us. The party and the Chinese people will keep moving confidently forward in broad strides along the path that we have chosen for ourselves. And we will make sure the destiny of China's development and progress remains firmly in our own hands.
The signal from Xi Jinping was this: China faces challenges from the world outside and only the Communist Party can fight back. The speech and the event were full of symbolism. Look at this. What's the first thing that strikes you? No masks. This is a crowd of 70,000 people gathered at the Tiananmen Square. No one has a mask on. This is the home country of the Wuhan virus. As the world struggles with second and third waves with deadly variants, China is having a birthday party minus masks. They're trying to tell the world that they've defeated the virus. There was symbolism in the skies too. Nearly 80 aircraft from the People's Liberation Army took flight today. Some of them arranged themselves in the form of the number 100 to mark the 100th birthday. The military is a very important part of Xi Jinping's power design. He promised to beef up the Chinese forces. And he said that the Communist Party must maintain absolute leadership, again his words, absolute leadership over the PLA. He demanded complete political loyalty from the military. Loyalty to the leaders, not to the country for the military. Note the difference.
Maintain the party's absolute leadership over the people's military and follow the path of strengthening the military with Chinese characteristics. Forge ahead with building a solid political foundation of the military reforms, technological development, talent development, and law-based administration.
In the rest of the speech, he stuck to the usual script: complete reunification with Taiwan, the one country, two systems model as in Hong Kong, the regular fare. The crowd dutifully played along. At the end of the ceremony, they sang a song called "Without the Communist Party, There Would Be No China." And if there were any protesters, they were carefully kept away from the cameras. Unfortunately for them, the Communist Party could not hide or stop the protests in New Delhi and Dharamshala, which is the home of the Tibetan government in exile. And in both these places, New Delhi and Dharamshala, protesters gathered to denounce the Communist Party and Xi Jinping. So today's event in a nutshell: Xi Jinping telling 1.4 billion people of China that the Communist Party is China and that Xi Jinping is a Communist Party. It's all about him. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.